Hi! Okay, welcome to Beachwise, where it's my heart to help you understand the ocean so you can stay safer and have more fun and just be more adventurous at the beach. You know, teach your kids how to surf or finally learn how to surf. Feel comfortable if you feel your feet get picked out from under you and you start getting pulled into rip current, all those things. I believe, understanding is the first step. So I'm gonna be walking you guys through some things at this beach here in Northeast Florida. Right now it is a medium tide, so it's mid-tide, and the tide is actually coming in. So here we have 6-hour tidal changes, about 6 hours and 15 minutes, and so in a few more hours the tide will be all the way up to here. This beach used to be a lot more gradually sloped, but it's got more of a harsh angle now to it, which creates, I don't know if you can see that. See, it's kind of a bit more steep. That harsh angle creates really big shore pound waves at high tide. So right now it's pretty mellow on the outside sandbar. As the tide fills in, that sandbar on the outside will get deeper, and since the waves aren't huge, it'll probably stop breaking out there and it'll just break on this sandbar and right there. If the waves are really a lot smaller, then it'll skip this section and just wall up right there. So usually this beach during the summer, it's really calm winds in the morning. And then by midday, the winds switch out of the southeast. So we name the winds from where they come, or, like a person, oh, I'm from America, so they're American. So if it's a southeast wind, the wind is coming out of the southeast. So today, though, the wind is coming out of the northeast, and it's creating these choppy conditions. The current is pushing this way, which is very different than how it's been the last few weeks. The current has been going from south to north, but today it's going from north to south because the northeast wind is pushing it that way. So if you don't know your cardinal directions, it's northeast, southwest. There's an acronym to help remember it, or a saying: never eat soggy waffles. That just helps you remember the order, and wherever you're at in the world, you can always find north. You can find north, you'll know which direction is every other direction. So over there by the poles is a bit of a rip current, and I'm walking along, and I'm just going to show you guys where this rip current is forming. As the tide comes in, it'll be more prominent. So see how those people are standing in super deep water, or maybe they're, that deeper area is where this rip current is. So, yeah. You guys want to be in my video? You said you want to be in my video? I don't know. I have to ask your parents. You have to ask your parents. You can ask them. You can ask them. It's so sweet. So, okay, so right here, see all these breaking waves? This is a sandbar. Like, over there, you can see the deeper areas. It's just darker. So, let's just walk and let's see if it gets any deeper as I'm walking along this sandbar. I've heard that there's a really bad rip current just down the way. I was talking to a friend this morning. He was teaching someone how to surf, and he said that he actually felt the rip current pulling him out when he was just standing and teaching someone how to surf. And he thought to himself, wow, if I didn't really know where this was going, I would be really stressed. He knows that as a surfer, that rip current's just taken out, it's the last breaking sandbar, and the waves weren't too far. So this sandbar is actually stretching pretty good all the way across. But see right there, the water starts to get deeper. That's earlier at lower tide. That was a tide pool. So I'm just still walking. This sandbar is still pretty much a sandbar. But let's go over here to this slough. This is called a slough. Let's just see. So see, you can see it's like it gets darker because it's deeper, and the water looks a lot more still, right? The water looks way more still. See, the waves are rolling in, and as they roll in, they kind of stop breaking because the water gets deeper. Waves have to break in shallower water. So see, it just stops, it dissipates because it's too deep. And so we're just gonna walk. You can kind of see the water change. We're gonna swim out in a little bit so I can just show you guys things. Bring this surfboard. So surfboards at the beach are actually a pretty big hazard. If you ever get hit by one, it could really hurt. Or if you're learning to surf, you always want to make sure you stay underwater for a few seconds as the wave and the surfboard is passing. But if you ever see a surfer coming towards you, make sure you swim under the wave, because under the wave is a lot safer than getting hit in the face. There you go. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, of course. Okay. So right now, because the tide, see, there's like that little bit of a bounce. That's called backwash. It's like a reverb, so the water is going, it hits the shore, and then it comes back. And as the water comes back, it collides with the oncoming waves, which I think is just so fabulous. I think it's so fun. See? But the ocean does stuff like that as like the tide is changing. So sometimes, like when waves are really crisscrossy, you can tell that there's a little rip right there. I'm just walking along just to see. Look at that. Walking along to see if it gets deeper anywhere. There's still tide pools over there, and I think that's actually where that rip is really flowing out. We're gonna check it out. There's a ton of sea turtle nests here right now, and it's amazing. It's really cool. So some people call rip currents rip tide. It's not really the word for rip currents, it's a common misconception. But I think the reason why people think it's called a rip tide is because a rip current can be more exaggerated with certain tidal changes. So as the tide is dropping from high to low, a lot of that water is pulling back out. So it just makes any channels of water a lot more powerful. So can you guys see this? I mean, you've probably been to the beach and seen this happen, but if you have never been to the beach, you wouldn't even know what to look for. You see this area, and it's like, looks like a little pool. Okay, so look, so see how now I'm starting to walk, and I'm a few inches deeper in that section, maybe just like an inch. But this one, even though the current, so the primary current is going from north to south. You can see it, it's going that way. The flag is blowing northeast, it's blowing onshore, it's out of the east and out of the north. But this rip current, because this is the main connecting point, this little deeper channel, this is the main connecting point. Like, look at this. You see that? I just went from calf deep almost to mid-thigh. So, and see, it's like tons. Oh, and look how shallow that is. Like, that's literally like so shallow right there. Like it's nothing. There's not even water in that section. But this is actually, like, I'm actually having to like kind of push against this because it's a nice little river flowing out. And it actually like takes you right there to that sandbar. Like, it really was not, you saw me walking across that sandbar, and the little break in the sandbar was not very noticeable at all. Like, it was just a little divot. So this, even though the main current is going from north to south, if your kids at higher tide, when this is much less easy to see, they're gonna be getting pulled that way. You can just see it flowing out. They're gonna be getting pulled that way. And literally, it's actually quite hard for me to walk this. I'm kind of surprised. And there's kids playing over there, which is totally fine and safe. Their parents are right there with them. It's like a deeper area. Like they were probably playing in here since early this morning. It was a fun, relaxing tide pool for them, but now the tide is filling in and it is turning into a channel for the water to get back out, because the water, right, the waves come in and then it hits the shore and it wants to go back. And water likes to follow the path of least resistance. So see, all this water comes in and it's just like, oh, we'll just go that way. It doesn't reverb here. It was reverbing over there because it was just bouncing straight back. Here it goes and then it follows that deeper channel. So most beaches, sandy beaches, have slough, sandbar, and the sandbars are the areas where the waves break. If you're looking at the beach and you don't see breaking waves, there could be a sandbar there. And if it's like flat and you don't see any waves breaking, there's no waves at all that day, there could be a sandbar there, but there's just no energy in the water making waves. If you are at the beach and there are waves, and there's waves in one spot, like say you're at a point break, like Noosa or Malibu, so the waves are breaking over there by the rocks, this is an example, but they're not breaking here. They're not breaking over there because it's deeper water. I hope that makes sense. Waves break in shallow water. So waves are actually, as a lifeguard, we actually like waves. The calm days are sometimes the days that people get in more trouble. Sometimes people tend to look at an ocean with big waves and they like know to stay really close to shore. People usually can at least read that. But a really great way to see rip currents again is just go to beaches at low tide. If the beaches you go to is close to an amphidromic point, there will be minimal tidal changes, so you wouldn't really get to see that change. Okay, so we do have a little reverb here. The bigger waves, when the sets come, they have enough power to make it all the way, and then they do bounce back. Yeah, we can walk back in this rip current. Rip current tide pool. I know I've called it like a lazy river. Like if you're with your kids and you like surfers, for example, like how do surfers' kids feel so comfortable in the ocean? It's because their parents aren't worried. They know the ocean. They know their kids know their limits. They start at a young age. I find that a lot of kids can intuitively learn the ocean if parents are with them and setting up like safe parameters. So yeah, that was way easier to walk back just now. Super easy. So like my kids, my 2-year-old, she's like, she doesn't want to wear her life jacket half the time. So we're just right there with her and she goes over the waves. Sometimes the waves knock her down and she's gotten really comfortable with that. So kids can definitely very intuitively learn the feel of the ocean, the ebb and flow, the waves. They can learn their limits under the supervision of their parents. So that's why I want to teach parents how to understand how to read the changing ocean conditions, because it's changing every day, but there's a pattern to it. You can pick up on the pattern very easily. But like, you also I'm just walking and looking. And as you start to learn to pick up on the patterns, you also start to notice like what conditions you don't want to go out in. Even me, as an experienced surfer and lifeguard, have my limits. I don't, especially with my kids, like I might not want to take them out in certain conditions, and that's totally okay. You don't need to push yourself. Do what you feel comfortable with. But yeah, this channel it's just like, it's also going to make, so right now the primary longshore current, which longshore current goes down the beach, the primary longshore current is north to south. Some of these rip current areas with the sloughs, they're flowing from south to north. All right, I'm gonna walk back to my stuff, put the case on the GoPro, and I'm gonna take you guys out in the ocean. We're gonna ride a rip current and talk about things. I guess I can show you guys one thing just to make it super clear. So when you're at the beach, here's the shoreline, right? You're walking out, and there's the deeper area, the sandbar, or the slough, and this is the sandbar, and then another slough and a sandbar. This is for sandy beaches, and sometimes because the water likes to go back out, right, there'll be a break in the sandbar, and that's what a rip current is. It's a break in a sandbar, it's a set channel. So at Pipeline, there's a reef there, so it's just always, it always breaks right on the reef, the waves. If the waves are coming in the right direction, you can actually go to Pipeline and you might not see any waves because the wave direction might not be right for that break. But the water always likes to flow back right next to the reef in that deeper spot. And then I want to talk about undertow too. Still walking back to get my case. The undertow is when the wave breaks, it's a circular motion, and so it rises up and then it pulls back, right? When I'm in the water, I always feel that intuitively. I feel that little pull, and you kind of just go with it when you start to learn the ocean a little bit. Like you feel the pull, or you push against it, or sometimes you just swim under the wave, and then you like find your footing, or you might swim in a little bit. But undertow is with every single wave. Like every single wave has a little bit of undertow, and it can be particularly dangerous for really steep beaches where it just gets deep really fast. Like here at low tide, like I'm really careful, or high tide, sorry. I'm really careful with my 5-year-old who loves the water and wants to go in by himself. I'm really careful here at high tide because it gets deep really fast, and he's pretty good at swimming, but he would definitely have a hard time. So you can tell what the waves are doing. You can tell what the sea floor is like sometimes by what the waves are doing. There's like a few different categories of waves. Spilling, these are crumbling. I need to remember the other two. Spilling, pitching, I think is like reef breaks. All right, I'm gonna put my case on. So see how that wave is breaking and then it kind of stands up in that section? See how it breaks really hard right there and then it's really soft breaking over there? That's a little rip, so it's going to be hard for me to get stuck in this rip current because the current is going so strong that way right now. I actually really don't like going near the holes because barnacles are really strong. Not my favorite. current really doesn't want me to go over there. So I'm kind of swimming out here. It's always calmer past me. Like, see how they're just sitting still? They're not moving. The current is like hardly taking on. I always see dolphins, never sharks. Should I see if a surfer will help me? Should I pretend I'm drowning? That spot, I'm just kind of staying right there. So let's see. I'll look down more. In one bay, in like a really narrow area. There's just a lot of water moving, a lot of energy moving in and out of that small funnel of an area. You just always want to be more mindful in those sorts of areas if you're inexperienced in the ocean, like 100%. Let's go in. Let's see if we can go over. So I'm just kind of doing like a side stroke, and I'm just staying calm. I'm just getting back in. And I went under that wave because it wasn't really good to body surf. It might be. Now I'm shallow. Shallow water because you don't want to get slammed. Like, sandbars can be really shallow and you just don't want to get slammed into the bottom. Like slammed from the top into the bottom and break your neck. There are some places with waves that are really steep. Like today these waves are spilling. They're a lot weaker. But in places like Hawaii, those waves can be really strong. You want to either know how to swim under them or how to time catching those waves so that they don't slam you into shallow water. We've all been there. These kids are awesome. Woo! Just walking along, seeing if I can feel like deeper spots. Hey guys, you having fun? You guys catching waves? Cool. So those, even if they're, okay, yeah, I feel it. It's just kind of pulling up a little bit. And those kids are doing great because the waves are, they keep pushing on it. They're on these floaties and it just keeps pushing on it. Okay, so see how it's really choppy right here? And that wave like started to stand up. Watch this one, it's like hardly gonna break. It didn't break very hard because even though it was breaking harder down there, because that's like better sandbar. So surfers are looking for better sandbars. And this is just like a little rip current. These kids are actually good. They're surfing. Use the rip current. Okay, here's a bigger wave. But see, it's still just breaking so weak. Same with that one, but it was a set wave. There's a set. Have you noticed that, like, I haven't gotten a lot of big waves breaking on me? Like this one, it's not peaking up. It's just really like fat, as we would call it. It's just got too much water. It's too deep right here. So yeah, this. Hey guys, I have a question real quick. Can I ask you guys a question? Did you guys take this rip current out to help you? You didn't? Do you guys ever do that? No? Do you know about that? You do? Is it hard for you to see them? Yeah. I was just wondering. Because it's like right here. That's why it's a little bit harder to catch the waves right here, because it's deeper. Because the waves aren't breaking as strong in the deeper water. It's actually, because I'm doing a YouTube video to teach people about rip currents. And it's still taking me out actually, which is not a big deal. So yeah, they're gonna paddle in now because they weren't catching the waves really easy. So this one actually did take me out a little further. So I'm just gonna calmly swim with that main longshore current. And let's just see, like I can feel it. I can feel it pulling me that way. But I'm just gonna see if I can swim out of it. I'm gonna swim to the waves because the waves will help me get in. If there's no waves, then you just have to work your way in. If you can like breaststroke or side stroke, like I'm doing a little froggy kick. And I'm pulling. It's really chill. But yeah. You can see it. It's like a peak there and a peak here. So that spot just isn't breaking. See, the waves are standing up a little bit more now. We're into the shallow water again. And I do still feel it pulling me, but I know I'm okay. I do. I am a strong surfer, but I think the main thing is knowing how to float, knowing how to swim under waves, not going out if the waves are huge and you just don't know how to swim under waves, if you don't know how to body surf. I know a woman who was was in Hawaii vacationing, and she got slammed by a wave. It broke right on her neck, and it broke her neck. And wow, she's from Central California, so she just didn't know that much about the ocean. So I was talking to her, and she said she was going on a vacation to Hako after she had broken her neck and was fine and recovered. I was like, oh, do you want to get in the ocean there? She said, yeah, a little bit. I was like, don't go to Hako. Hako's on the Pacific side. The waves are huge. That's like a surf destination. I'm standing now. I was right there, and now I'm here. I'm on the sandbar again. Super happy that worked, like, to show you guys. It's perfect conditions for today. So now I can catch a wave in. And a good way to be in the water is like never have like flat footing. You're never gonna have flat footing in the water. You wanna be on your tippy toes and be bouncy. Here comes a wave. That wave took me all the way in. So that's that deeper channel that we were walking in earlier. The tide's cool. The tide is still coming in, remember? But even though the tide's coming in, the water still moves back and forth. So then it just wraps. Yeah, I was right there. That's where those kids were. That's where I was. And see, there's like waist deep water. That sandbar was like knee deep. That's another thing. If you're at the beach and you're playing on a sandbar and the tide comes in, you might get, if you don't like to swim in deeper water, you might get stuck out there. So it's always good to check the tides because you're gonna have to travel through the slough. I knew that, I learned that growing up. So it kind of wraps like that way. So it goes from here and it goes out there. Thank you guys for tuning in to this video. I'm really excited. So many people just want to learn about how to read the ocean. I'm thankful you're here. I'm going to keep sending like tips and tricks and just forecasting, understanding winds, waves. I want to make it simple and fun for you guys. The ocean is a wonderful place to learn your limits in, to learn to trust your body and yourself, and to grow in strength, and to learn to like respect the power of the elements. Thank you. Bye.